right, what's going on, everybody? My name is Craig Smith. Welcome back to the Scene Podcast. Tonight we got big-time coach, big-time EYBL 16U coach, Coach Berokoff. What's going on, man?
Man, Craig, thanks for having me. It's long overdue, right?
It's been about 2 weeks. I've been leaving you out to dry. And I told you I was resilient to never count me out. Because man, I've been out today. I never leave work before 7 o'clock, and tonight I left at 2:30. So, man, it's been a hell of a day. But talk to me about how you've been after your season at OCU, at Oklahoma City. Talk to me about what you've been doing.
Well, I'll tell you what. So the season was great. I mean, we had one of the, if not the biggest turnaround in all of NAIA basketball. We won 17 games, came in third in one of the toughest conferences in America. Went to the semifinals of the conference. We were picked. I mean, as far as the bottom as you can get picked in the preseason rankings. So the season was great. I mean, the kids were awesome. You were at our Texas Wesleyan game. We had a stretch there where it's like every game we had to win, and the kids bought in, and it was great. I mean, out for my first year at OCU, it was awesome. It was exciting. I couldn't have asked for a better year with the guys, and disappointing we didn't make the national tournament. That's a whole nother episode, but for how it ended up happening, what a great year. And Oklahoma City is such a famous NAI program to begin with, and now that we're starting to get our name back out there, it's exciting times for our men's program right now.
And now you got there this year. This was your first year, right?
First year, yeah.
So in 2019-20, OCU was 15-16, and they only won 7 games in conference. And then the next year, was COVID year. And then you get there and talk to me about the culture change. Talk to me about what you brought.
I think the culture, the kids were good kids. So, I mean, in terms of changing the culture, it was more so just getting to have buy-in into like the coach is going to be around here. I mean, they went through, a couple of our guys had 4 or 5 coaches, with the head coaches and the assistants taking over. So it was, one, getting them to believe in what we were doing. And 2, once they did, I mean, they were good culture kids to begin with. But once we got them to believe in that, hey, coach is going to be here for a while, he believes in us. I mean, it was a quick change. And, it was a lot of fun. It wasn't easy to come into that situation. But once we got buy-in, man, things just took off. It was awesome.
And you had 2 great guards in Ryan and Sean, man. Talk about how those guys play off each other. Because I feel like on any night, either one of them could go off.
Yeah, I mean, Sean at Dallas. Well, he played at a Dallas junior college. He's a Houston kid. Was an All-American, first team All-Conference. Just is going to be playing professionally. He had a spectacular year. And Ryan Burt, I mean, they played off each other so well. I mean, the drive and kick, they really saw each other. Ryan's another Dallas. He's a Plano kid, and they were great together. They defended well. They always wanted to guard the other team's best player or best guard. The drive and kick, they fed off of each other well in terms of what we were doing offensively. And when one guy was off, the other guy was on. And when we both had them on together, it was a very tough matchup for a lot of people.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch Sean maybe 2 or 3 times when he was at Eastfield. And, they always have a player at Eastfield that averages like 20 to 30 points a game. I mean, every year, I don't know where he finds these guys. But Fletcher does a really good job with his guards up there. So talk to me. How long have you been coaching, man?
Wow, do I really want to say? 1995, I think, was my first high school coaching job. 1995. I probably started in 1993, coaching like a junior high, and then I coached a sixth grade. I was the assistant coach on my brother's sixth grade Slam and Jam team that was based out of Compton, that had Tayshaun Prince on it, and I was the
Wow.
sixth grade assistant coach. So whatever year that might be, that's
That's
so long
great.
ago. But so I've been around a long time, 25, 26 years. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot.
And you start off like when you became a head coach, you start off at the high school level, or
So I started my first high school job I was the sophomore head coach at Sonora High School in California, in Southern California. And the very next year, I was the youngest head coach in Southern California at Heritage Christian High School. It was a varsity job. And so I feel like I've been doing this forever. I'm 48, but I think in basketball life, I'm in like the 70s.
yeah, yeah. Being a head coach, you don't have a lot of days off, right? I mean,
Never.
you're especially at the level you're at now. You're recruiting. You're always on the phone, probably, and now you're out there trying to win a peach jam.
I'll tell you first, before you get into that, my wife
Yeah.
always gets on me because it's like I'm constantly texting or on the phone with somebody, and she always says to me, "You don't have to always text immediately back." Stacy is like, "You can give it like 30 minutes and get back to him." But no, you're right. There's no off season. I mean, we're always trying to make sure our guys are okay, or if we need a spot to fill, we're always working it or calling somebody. But yeah, it's there's no downtime. And now that I'm doing now I'm with Team Griffin and the EYBL stuff. There is really no downtime.
Yeah. And so talk to me. You went from high school. So did you always want to move up to that college level? Was that always the plan?
You know, if I had a teaching credential, uh, a long story short, I didn't have my degree for a long time. I would have stayed in high school coaching in California for the rest of my life if I had a teaching credential. I mean, I'm a Southern California guy. I mean, I grew up going to the beach. I love Southern California, but I didn't have a teaching credential. So I was always doing like side jobs or campus security. I mean, when you hear these coaches talk about how they want to get in the business or get into things, I mean, I've worked at a grocery store, substitute taught, campus security. My wife and I threw newspapers together in the mornings.
Hey, that's love right
Um,
there.
yeah, so in terms of like your original question was, have I always wanted to be the next level? I just always wanted to coach.
Yeah.
And college coaching kind of was like the next step. And I never knew like Division 1 when you were young was like, yeah, I always wanted to be a D1 guy. And then when I did that, it was, so yes, college coaching is what I always wanted to do. I never really had like an end goal, but now that I have my degree and my master's, I mean, it's opened up a lot of doors. So if anybody's out there listening that is trying to get into the business, make sure you get your degree, and a master's is definitely a plus. But yes, college was always the end goal, but I loved high school also.
So you were an assistant at Louisiana Tech, Texas State, Hill College. Um, and this was all before you went to Randall, right?
So yeah, at Louisiana Tech, I was like an administrative assistant, and I did just about anything there was to do. At Hill College, I was the lead assistant. Texas State, I was director of basketball operations, and then I went to Randall, yeah, as the head coach.
And so let's talk about, man. You went you went three national championships in a row.
Okay.
How hard is that?
Well, originally we won three in a row, but we played in four national championships. So the first one we lost, and then we won three in a row. It's interesting because you look back on it. You know how it's like we were really good, and the NCCA at that time was really, really good with a lot of good teams. You have to be very lucky. I mean, one, you got like guys can't get in foul trouble, or you have to hit that big shot in a game where you're not playing well, or you have to go on the road somewhere and win a big game. Or at that time, the Southwest region that we were in was really good, and there were a lot of good coaches and players. We just got very lucky. We had really good players. We had we had a the group just was so much buy-in. The first one in 16, we were really good. We got lucky and we beat a really good team in overtime. And then the next year we kind of ran through that in 17 and 18. The year we won three in a row. I'll tell you what, it was the worst. So I'll backtrack a little bit. That year we played Baylor on national TV with the 2018 team.
Oh
And
wow.
with 8 minutes to go on national TV, we were down eight. I think we ended up losing like 108 to 82 or whatever. But with 8 minutes to go, we were up eight, and we played so well. And we never played that good ever again. We got to the national tournament in the national quarterfinal. We won in overtime, I think, or on a last second shot. And then in the national semifinal, we won in overtime. And then in front of like 4,000 people, we had to play the host team on their home court, and it went down to the wire, and we had to have a big block from Isaac Bowles on a block shot. So it's, how hard is it? It's extremely hard, because the next year we were going for four in a row, and we got upset in the quarterfinals, and with a team that was just as good as any of those other teams that we had. So people think it's like, everybody talks about, I want to win a national title, but man, it's so hard, and you got to get so lucky on a lot of things.
And in that run at Randall, you managed to have one player win Player of the Year award 3 times, uh, and Trey Sneed, and then you had Antonio Wilson in 19 and Jordan Marshall in 21. Talk about coaching some of those guys, because I guess
Well,
Trey was on those 3 national championship teams, right?
so yeah, Trey played in four national title games. So funny story about Trey. He came in. We were recruiting two other guys. Trey showed up with the workout, just kind of showing up. And so, I mean, I'll take very little credit to that. Matthew Mossman, who's now assistant at University of Central Oklahoma, kind of pushed that one. And we really weren't recruiting Trey. And I don't know if Trey really wanted to play college basketball, but we watched him work out, and we're like, Trey, man, we'd love to have you. And he committed like at a weird random like Oklahoma City All-Star game. But Trey ended up being so good. I mean, if you look at his numbers against like D1s and D2s, I mean, he was like 20 plus. He had almost 30 on Baylor on national TV. And the
Wow.
great thing about Trey was, in any time there was a big game, national tournament, he always hit the big shot. Always. It never failed. The best thing about Trey in 2018, the crowd was chanting overrated to him, because, he just won his third national player of the year. And they were chanting overrated to him. And it was like, I was thinking in my mind, that's the worst thing you could do is chant that. And he went for like 28 and hit the big shot to win the game. But and then you had Antonio Wilson, a local Oklahoma City kid. He's a three-time state champion at Douglas High School, and he kind of fell in our lap. He was at a D2 and said, "Hey, I want to come back to the city." And we coached him with an AAU team, so we were able to get him. And Jordan Marshall, he was at Allen County Community College, and we always scrimmage Allen County. And he had nowhere to go after he got at another school. He's like, "Hey, I remember playing you guys. Can I come?" So it's like, I want to say we're great recruiters, which I think we do a good job. But I mean, sometimes you got to be lucky with some of these guys. And to have 5 national players of the year is really cool. It makes coaching really easy, makes me look really good, but it's also a lot of fun to have really good players.
Yeah. And then, so let me rewind to how we met. I guess you got in touch with my guy Chris, trying to find people out here in Duncanville at the field house there in the Gasso probably, and that's where you ended up hitting on Avery Jackson. And me and you have been in communication since I don't know, last year during this time. Um, but talk to me, because I remember you said you wanted to change the way y'all recruit at Oklahoma, also at Oklahoma City. Uh, talk to me a little bit about that, because you have some high school kids coming in there now this year. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma City has always been real transfer heavy, and it's been very successful. But I have always been, let's get transfers along with high school kids, and we randomly, my assistant Garrett White, we said, all right, let's go to the Gasso, let's email as many coaches as we can. And the Dynasty was one of those guys that like immediately got back to us and gave us like, hey, I really think you can get involved with our kids. And Avery Jackson, I mean, caught my eye immediately at Gasso. And it was one of those things where it was like, I kept looking around, like there were coaches watching. And I kept thinking, I hope there's not a lot of coaches watching this kid, because this kid is really special. And especially now with the portal, if the portal never existed, Avery Jackson would never be at Oklahoma City, because D1, D2s missed on him. They really did. And we were lucky enough that we were the first to offer. We stayed in constant communication. We worked with you and his AAU coach. OCU has a great law school, and it's the same thing with Jacob Swoboda out of the Austin area. Um, he played on a really good AAU team that I kept looking around thinking, we're not going to be able to get this kid. He fits exactly what we want to do. But with the portal, it opened our opportunity to get him. So we were able to go into the Gasso, find two really good players. Thankfully, because the portal is, everybody's so much flocking to the portal, that we're able to get two high school kids, one that are great academically, two come from very good families, and really bought into what we were wanting to do at Oklahoma City. So we've hit the jackpot on those kids in terms of people. In terms of the success on the basketball court, that's going to be up to them. But in terms of people and academics and wanting to get a degree, we hit a home run.
See, man, and after I watched y'all play at Texas Wesleyan, I texted Avery and I was like, man, you got a real chance to like make some noise over there, because I mean it looks like y'all I mean from that game, I don't know what other games. I only watched one game, but I mean you got four guards, you spread the floor. I mean, guys are shooting the ball. I mean, I think Avery's going to be really good there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people recruit just to go find players and let me get the D1 transfer and the D2 guy. We recruit for what we feel would be good for our offense. I don't care if they're ranked, non-ranked. If somebody else doesn't like them, I trust my eyes. I trust my assistant's eyes, Garrett White's eyes. Avery and Jacob, in terms, they fit what we wanted to do and what we were looking to do. And I didn't care what anybody else said. And in terms of the way we play, they fit perfectly. I mean, there's no better match for us.
And then, so you get done with college ball, and what? So I know John played at OCU. He's on the he won 2 national championships there, I believe so, right?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
And have y'all known each other for a while before this EYBL stuff happened?
When I got the job, he was one of those guys that was on the list of people to contact, of former players, because one of the best players that ever played at OCU was Cameron Gray, and I coached him in a summer pro league long time ago. So Cameron and I have always been in contact, and Cameron said contact John. And then Garrett and I decided we wanted to go watch Team Griffin practice. I can't even remember when it was, in June or right during their July camp, getting ready for the last few things of July coming up. And I've known Kellen McCoy for a long time, and Kellen and I have always talked about we wanted to do something together, because I used to coach with the Oklahoma Wizards for a couple of years, an Adidas sponsored team. And I just randomly said to Kellen, hey, if the opportunity ever came, I'd love to get involved. I love what you guys are doing. And he said, yeah, we'll talk. And in my mind, I didn't think anything would come of it. I mean, I really just truly thought they were doing a great job with their program. They coached, they taught, they ran practice really well. And he randomly called me and said, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And I said, absolutely. And I said, I don't want to be a head coach. I mean, I do this enough. Yeah. And he kind of laughed and he said, well, I think the Griffins would really like you to be a head coach. And that's kind of how he became the 16 and under head coach. And John, who played at OCU, he actually played in 3 national title games, lost on a buzzer beater, and then won 2 in a row. is my assistant. So it's a perfect fit. He's out of his mind, crazy, has a great time with it, and we're a good mix together. And we just had a really successful weekend in Louisville. So it's been a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Was this everything that you imagined? Like what you're doing right now, was that the plan?
In terms of being with Team Griffin,
No, it's
or
like, I mean, going into the Peach Jam like y'all are.
well, you know what? If you look at our first two sessions, we really struggled. And we did not play really well. And then I've missed a couple of the tournaments in Dallas for some family things, and I think we had some moments there, but yeah, we needed to add two pieces, and we added the Jackson Ford kid and BJ Davis. BJ is a top 15, 16 player in the country. I mean, he's
Yeah.
out of this world, and Jackson was the perfect piece for what we're doing. And I always had the confidence, we weren't even supposed to go to Louisville. There was a team that dropped out, and the Griffins got us in. And John told me, he goes, man, we really got to do well, So I really watched film, and we were really prepared for Louisville. And we went 5-1, and we made, the 16. Kellen won the Peach Jam with the 16s a few years ago, but it's
Yep.
the first time Team Griffin has ever been in an EYBL final other than that game. So it was a history moment for the program. And we played some really good teams, really highly rated, nationally ranked players. I mean, we beat Team Final, Mean Streets out of Chicago, TSF, um, Alabama Fusion. I mean, we beat some really good high level teams, and we went to the championship game against the top team, Team Takeover, and I would love to play them again. It was tied at halftime, and right now you look at the EYBL standings, and it's Team Takeover, Team Griffin as the top two teams in the country for 16 and unders, and I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And I think I'm not excited. I'm more excited for Team Griffin and for Kellen McCoy and for what he's done with this program. I think it's great for the kids, and but now we've got a target on our back. I mean, we're one of the top two teams in the country, and I know that's raising a lot of eyebrows, and it's an exciting thing.
Yeah, and you also have, I would say, probably two of the top kids in Oklahoma, and Dylan Warlick and Dayton Forsyth.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that so Dylan has no offers. Dayton has an offer from Portland, which my buddy Shantae Leggins is the head coach, and Shantae loves Dayton. And Antonio Barrett, the other kid, he has an offer
Antonio,
from
yeah.
Montana, but it's amazing to me, and it's the way of the portal now. Back in the day, the 1600s were heavily watched, and Warlick and Forsyth our phone should be going off the hook right now. Um, Dylan is one of the top scorers in EYBL. I mean, he had 22 in some big games over the tournament in Louisville. And Dayton Forsyth is a kid, to me, if you watch Villanova play, he could step right in and play in that system. His vision, his IQ, it's so incredibly amazing to me that those kids are not getting blown up, and we're not getting blown up over them. I mean, with BJ, obviously he's in the ESPN rankings, but it's like you got Antonio Barrett. Like, why are we not getting phone calls on this? And it's just the way the way it's working now in AAU basketball. It's incredible.
And all three of those kids just won state championships, right? Because I believe and Antonio and Dylan are on the same team, right?
Yeah, so Antonio and Dylan are on the same team. They won 6A in Oklahoma. Dayton led his team to the 2A title.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a kid, Dayton Forsyth, New York, Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia have double teamed him. Where does that happen?
Wow.
They've double teamed him. Every coach has come up to me and said, we had no idea how to stop that kid. And then Warlick has been, I mean, he's been incredible in terms of scoring and rebounding, and Antonio Barrett's defense. I mean, those are the three kids that get targeted quite a bit in terms of our team. We have a lot of good role players with that team, but it's amazing that the way EYBL or the AAU system is working right now, that some of these 1600 kids are not getting more looks like they were maybe 5-6 years ago. 5-6 years ago, these kids would have 15, 20 offers easily.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me how it's evolved.
man, I feel like there's going to be a lot of kids with this transfer portal, man. There's going to be a lot of kids that miss out, like sit on the couch for an extra year and might not get to play.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's going to be high school kids and kids entering the portal. A lot of kids are getting bad advice entering the portal. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but it was like what 600 or 700 kids are still sitting there in the portal waiting for something, and it's
yeah.
I don't. But you know what that hurts then is the high school kids. So many coaches are looking at the portal. The high school kids are getting forgotten about, which in return helps me because there's a lot of good kids sitting there that you're going to be able to recruit that you're not normally going to be able to get involved with.
All right, man. So I'm going to switch it up. And I want to get into the. First of all, I want you to tell me about the slam ball thing because I didn't know about slam ball, man. You got to tell me about that.
Okay, so quick story. My best friend in the world, Hernando Planels, one day said, "Hey, I'm going to go to this like tryout for a coach of this thing, slam balls, basketball and trampolines." And I said to him, "I don't know what you're doing, dude. You're crazy." So the whole season went off, and it was like a real big success. And he said, "There's going to be 2 expansion teams. I can get you in an interview." And I thought, "I'll go interview. There's no chance I've got a shot at this deal." And I went and interviewed, and I guess I did pretty well because I became the head coach of the expansion team, the Bandits, and I did 2 years of slam ball with the Bandits, and then my best friend and I were able to coach the Bouncers together, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, slam ball was wild. It was. I'm still amazed that it never like, especially with like social media now. And imagine if slam ball was going on right now. Slam ball was pretty
Oh,
cool.
right now, yeah.
I mean,
I think it'd be going nuts.
yeah, slam ball was out of its. It was way ahead of its time. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Very, very cool.
And then we get into the Coach Carter deal, man. And I think Garrett was the first one to tell me about that, and I was like, what? So tell me the hand you had in Coach Carter.
Okay, so again, my best friend Hernando
Yeah.
has been involved with the movie stuff through a company, and I think he just threw me a lifeline and said, "Hey, do you want to help on this movie?" And I'm like, "Whatever, sure." So we actually worked on it for a year before, and we like picked all the players for this movie, and Hernando and I went through and put in the plays, like taught him how to play some basketball, and then we put in the plays, and it was kind of like
Now
at
are
the end.
are these the guys that are acting?
Yeah, so like the actors and the teams they were playing. So we worked
Okay.
with both of those teams. Hernando had way more to do with it than I did. I mean, I was involved with picking them and doing like a training camp with them and teaching them how to play and stuff. But he just said they kind of said to me, "Hey, as a favor for doing this, do you want to be in the movie?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And I just thought I'd be sitting in the stands. Little did I know I'd be sitting on like the bench of the team that beat the Coach Carter team, and I had 2 games worth. And I mean, if you really, I think the first scene I'm in that fight scene breaking up the fight, and then in the last big game, my team beats Coach Carter's team, and you see me quite a bit on there. That's like my big movie fame right there.
I'm
So
gonna have to go back and watch that now.
I have a lot longer hair, and I was a lot heavier. After
Oh,
seeing yourself on the big screen, you got to lose weight.
so you got the do I mean were you around guys like Channing Tatum?
Yeah, yeah. But Channing Tatum wasn't a big time guy then. I mean,
Yeah.
he was just a normal guy then. He was pretty cool, and yeah, we were
And
around all those guys, yeah, all the time. It was pretty cool.
I, I believe the big man that played on that team really actually tried to play pro ball.
So
Because I
that kid
remember him. Go ahead.
that kid played for our AAU team, the Los Angeles Rockfish. He was
Okay.
like on the Coach Carter team in the movie. He was a legit, real basketball player.
Okay.
His name is Nana, and he played for us with our AAU team back in the day. He was the legit player. Like you didn't
I
have to do a ton of takes on him. He just got it done.
I remember seeing him. He was on some type of special on ESPN or something about I don't know, trying to get into the NBA or something. I'm not sure, but I remember seeing his face and being like, "Hey, that's the guy from Coach Carter."
Yeah.
So Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
he was
that's
a good
pretty
player.
cool, man.
Yeah, it was a good experience. It was really good. I try not to say much about it, but Coach White likes to bring it up with recruits, and it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. It's cool.
Hey, I mean, it seems like everything that you like, yeah, whatever, to kind of ends up working out in your favor, man.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the Southern California guy. I mean, I'm just kind of laid back, and I don't know. It's like if things happen, they happen. I don't know. It's just I'm just so laid back, I guess. I always tell recruits and parents, it's like what you see right now is what you're going to get all the time. I mean, I don't ever change, and I don't know. I think that's been part of my success is I'm just pretty laid back, and I don't get involved in all the Twitter stuff, and I just tweet about the Dodgers, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on here with me, and sorry that it took about 2 weeks.
No, it's all good. I mean, you do a great job. You promote the kids. I love following the stuff you do. We need more guys like you. And when you said, "Hey, do you want to do this podcast or this thing with you?" I was like, "Absolutely," because I know how much you touch at least the Texas market and Oklahoma, and people respect you, and you and I have a great relationship. So anything I could do, I'm honored to be on it, and I keep doing the good stuff and doing the good fight. And we need more guys like you out there.